Hello, ladies. Welcome back to another episode of I'm Jess Sayin, the podcast where we get real about growth, accountability, and becoming the best version of ourselves. I'm Jess, your host and life coach, and you've officially entered into a safe space. So make sure you go ahead and grab your tea, your coffee, a cozy little blanket, because this episode is about something so many of us experience this time of year. Yes, you already know we're talking about the winter arc. How that seasonal depression just continues to creep up on you around this time of year, and what we need to do to keep moving forward even when we feel like life is frozen in place. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the winter arc. You know that time of year where the days seem shorter like now and the nights feel endless like now. Oh my gosh, like everything in you just wants to curl up and go somewhere and just hibernate for a while. And for many of us, it's more than just, like that blah feeling. It's more than that, because seasonal depression is a real thing. It's not just something in your head. And honestly, I feel like this is something that we need to talk about more often because it is isolating. You can feel very isolated, especially when you're looking and you see other people that appear to be thriving, and then you're having days where you can barely get out of bed. So here's the thing. The winter arc is tough. It will be tough if you're currently going through that season. But I do want you to know that just like every other arc in your story, this season also has a purpose for you. And today we're going to dive into exactly what that purpose may be. What your purpose may be during this time, how you can handle those heavy days, and what you can do to make yourself feel a little bit better during this time. So if this isn't something that you deal with, or maybe you just don't recognize what it is, you may be asking yourself, exactly what is seasonal depression? Well, I do want to take this time to share that I suffer from seasonal depression. I mask it very well, so a lot of people may not realize that I'm depressed. I'm someone that I would consider to be a functioning depressant. I really go into a shell. I'm really to myself. I'm a really emotional person. Just when I'm not feeling depressed, I feel every emotion. But when I am in that depressed mode, every feeling that I have is 10 times more. So like when I'm thinking about sad things, it's really sad. When I'm thinking about the bad things, everything seems really bad. And fortunate for me, I do, during these moments, I do find a way to think about the good things, and it can send me on a major high to where I'm feeling like, oh my gosh, like I'm feeling great. Like, these good things are coming or these good things are going on. But then I have the major lows. Where I'm thinking about whatever it is that's affecting me, whatever is not going like I want it to. It may not be the healthiest way to deal with things by isolating myself. But honestly, that's the way I've learned to get through it. That's something that I definitely will be going over with my therapist, talking about. We've been covering so many things. And once again, I'm a functioning depressant. So it's not something that I'm just like yelling from the mountaintop, or sometimes I don't even feel like I need to talk about it because I'm just so used to it. Like I know, like around certain times, not even just, I can't even say that I'm just a seasonal depressant, because I don't know if any of you guys find yourself getting feeling a little depressed when it's around, that time of the month and stuff like that. But I also feel that. So it comes and goes, but definitely during this time of year, I do find myself, dealing with that. So once again, like I always say, we're in this together. And when I say that, I really do mean it. Once again, I don't talk about anything that I have not experienced personally, or I don't know or know someone close to me that has dealt with it. So going back into what is seasonal depression. So we're going to break it down just a little bit. Okay. It's a type of depression that usually starts late in the fall or the early winter, and it can even last as long as up to the early springtime. And really what's happening is the shorter days and the lack of the sunlight, the cold weather, all of that just kind of comes together and it plays this role of making you feel depressed. And if you're anything like me, you probably will notice that your mood, your energy, and even your motivation is taking a hit. Things are starting to shift. Sometimes you can experience a major shift. Sometimes you can just experience the shift coming very slowly. Now, I don't want to alarm anyone because sometimes you can just have a bad day. So just because you do feel these, you may feel like this, I don't want you to be like, oh, I didn't feel like getting out of the bed today and I felt down and I'm depressed. I don't want anyone to be self-diagnosing, but I do want to just make you aware. So before we dig too deep, I do want to preface by saying if you feel like you're suffering from depression, I really do suggest you seek some type of professional help. A therapist would definitely be a therapist, a coach, some type of professional help. Typically, I suggest it not be someone that is close to you because sometimes people can't see beyond their personal feelings, and family members don't always have the answers for knowing the best ways to assist you, especially if it's someone that's never dealt with something like this. They'll typically respond like, oh, why can't you just get over it? I don't understand. Like, why are you still in this funk? Like, life is so great for you. You don't need anything. You don't want for anything. Like, I don't understand what you're depressed about. So, and I would hate for you to speak to someone that you love and care about and you respect their opinions and they send you down into a deeper hole. So I would just suggest that you either seek a community or seek professional assistance if you feel like you are currently suffering from depression. So I know I said I don't want you self-diagnosing, but I do want to share some common symptoms that you may see if you are suffering from seasonal depression. So some common symptoms you may experience if you're going through seasonal depression are you're probably feeling fatigued all the time. No matter how much sleep you get, you're tired all the time. Could also be a lack of vitamin D. Who knows? That's why I say follow up with a professional. Okay, your motivation may feel like it has literally hopped in a suitcase, packed up, and left town. It may just completely be gone. Where is it? You can't find it. That is definitely one of the signs of just depression. But, we're talking about seasonal, so that can definitely be a sign that you are experiencing some sort of depression. You may be craving comfort foods more. Hello to the carbs. Or you probably lost your appetite completely. Now, I know you've probably heard some people that's like, oh, when I'm depressed, I lose weight, I gain weight. Well, it's not just you being depressed that's causing you to lose or gain weight. It's because the depression is changing your appetite. So either you've lost it or it has really grown and it's starting to affect your weight. So it's not just, the fact that you're depressed, it's the fact that it's affecting your appetite. And one of the biggest ones that I feel is most noticeable is you feeling down a lot or feeling very irritable or feeling hopeless. Or, life could just be lifing. Once again, that's why I want to stress, seek professional help. So if it's not life just lifing and you do feel like you may be suffering from seasonal depression, I do want you to know that you definitely are not alone. And it's okay to acknowledge that it is hard to deal with because you just don't know what kind of support you may have if you have any. So it definitely is something hard to deal with. But here's the good news about it. We can definitely take steps to make this season feel at least a little bit brighter. And I'm here to help you do just that. So we're going to shift gears just for a second. So have you ever noticed how nature slows down during the wintertime? Like you see the trees losing their leaves, you're seeing the animals go into hibernation, and everything around you just feels really still. So if you think about it in a way, the winter arc is a time for us to slow down too. It's like the world is kind of giving us permission to pause and reflect and even reset. Now, I'm not saying that you should just lay down and take it and embrace the funk and let it take over you. I'm definitely not saying that. But I do believe that there's power in leaning into the stillness. Like, use the time to check in on yourself. You can ask yourself some different questions, like what's been weighing in on you lately? What do you need to let go of before you decide to move forward? How can you take better care of yourself in this moment? These are all great questions to ask yourself when you find yourself in those still moments. Because winter isn't just a season of darkness, it's also a season of preparation. So if you think about like planting seeds, now I'm not a gardener or anything, but I've seen some YouTube videos. So think about it. If you're planting a seed, right? You plant the seed for growth for the coming spring. So look at this season as your time for planting for the spring. The key is to give yourself grace while you're in this space. Now let's go ahead and get into the part we all came here for. What can you actually do to make yourself feel better during the winter arc? So I've got 5 practical tips for you today. So I need you to go ahead and grab you a pen and a piece of paper, or at least be prepared to take a mental note of these tips, because these will definitely be helpful for you during this time. We're in the fall right now. We haven't even gotten into winter, and we want to make this process as smoothly as possible. So the first thing I need you to do is to make sure you're getting enough sunlight. I need you to step outside during the day, even if it's cold. I know. I need you to put on the jacket, stand outside in the sun at least for a little bit. Let that vitamin D soak into your skin, because the sunlight boosts serotonin, which is your feel-good hormone. We want to feel good during this time. So if natural light isn't an option for you, if you're somewhere where the sun just does not peek out much at all, then maybe you need to consider investing into a light box or something. But you definitely need to try and get as much sunlight as you can. The second thing is to make sure you're moving your body. I know when we're feeling down, hell, even when we're not feeling down, sometimes the last thing you want to do is go to the gym. I definitely get it. But when you are fighting against something like a seasonal depression, you definitely want to push yourself as much as you can. You need to do some type of movements on a regular basis. I don't care if it's just a 10-minute walk, or if you twerking in your living room for a hot little 15 minutes, whatever it is that you need to do to get your body moving, that's what you need to do. It's definitely going to be beneficial to you during this time. And then the third tip is to create you a routine that you can stick to. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, because seasonal depression definitely thrives in chaos. So we want to try and eliminate the possibility of that as much as possible. And creating and sticking to a simple daily routine, it will definitely help you feel more grounded. So this doesn't mean overloading yourself with a to-do list or anything like that. You just need a few consistent habits that you can stick to anchor yourself on a daily basis. And the last tip is to show yourself some compassion. I don't think people realize like how hard it can be for you to show yourself some grace. Like, I know we push to be nice and be empathetic to other people, but you definitely need to turn that energy inward as well. Show yourself some compassion, because sometimes I know there are days when getting out of bed is an accomplishment. And that is perfectly fine. Definitely celebrate your small wins, because sometimes we can't even pull ourselves out of bed at all. So if you pull yourself and get enough energy just to get out of bed, make you a nice hot cup of coffee, walk around in some nice fuzzy socks, curl up on the couch, watch a nice little Christmas movie. Just do simple things. And like I said, if you feel up to it, if you have a balcony, just step out there for like 10 minutes, let the sun hit your face. If you get really feeling it, you want to turn on some music and dance around in the living room for a while. Just, do what you can. But on the days that you can't, Show yourself some compassion. All right, ladies. So before we wrap this up, I do want to leave you with this. I know the winter arc can sound very scary. Seasonal depression is something that's very serious, but I do want you to remember that this is just one chapter of your story. It does not define you by any means, and just like everything else in your life, it will not last forever. Remember that healing and growth are not linear. It's okay to have seasons where you slow down and take care of yourself. It is okay to take care of yourself. In fact, it's definitely necessary. And if you're listening to this right now and you're thinking to yourself, I'm struggling, I don't know where to start, where do I begin? I want you to know that you do not have to do this alone. Definitely feel free to join our community. The link is down below. It's a Facebook group. Absolutely reach out for some support. And remember, you are stronger than you think. Thank you guys so much for spending this time with me today. And if this episode resonated with you in any kind of way, please, please, please share it with someone who may need to hear this message. And as always, you can find me on Instagram at Jess_coaching10, or feel free to join our Facebook group, Healing in Progress. I want us to keep growing together. And until next time, I'm just saying, you got this.